Welcome, everybody. I hope you're here for the right session, Building a Ubiquitous Cloud Native. We're here to talk to you about building communities around the world. And I'm excited to be joined by, oh, if I can click through, here we go, fellow folks, organizers from around the world, and I'll let them each introduce themselves. But before getting started, I'll introduce myself as Audra Montenegro. I'm a core CNCF employee. I work specifically on KCDs, which are Kubernetes Community Days, 1 to 2 day summits, as well as Cloud Native community groups. Satyam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone, I am Satyam and I am an OSS developer at Devtron, and I am a co-organizer of Cloud Native New Delhi, and Cloud Native New Delhi is so far the largest Cloud Native community in Asia, and I'd like to thank to the effort of my fellow organizers, volunteers, and the audience for building this community so large in the span of just 1 year. So yeah, that's all about me and about my community. I'd like to pass on the mic to Carol.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Carol Valencia. Nice to meet you, everyone. And I've been participating, building, organizing Cloud Native chapters in Sao Paulo, Lima, Peru, and also organizing KCDs in Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, it was the last, and Lima, Peru. And also participating in the Cube Day Colombia, that was the first event in Latin America from the CNCF. And this gives me some experience across the community in Latin America.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pawel. I'm representing Europe here. I am co-organizer of the Krakow chapter, CNCF Krakow chapter, and also the first KCD in Warsaw, which will happen this year. Also, I have the experience with other events like AWS Community Day or DevOps Days, but we don't care about them here, I think. So, yeah, that's me.
And unfortunately, we can't have Anita here with us. She had visa issues traveling from Africa. So I will be speaking on her behalf and her community throughout this session. So for those of you who don't know, CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, we were founded back in 2015 under the Linux Foundation umbrella. I'd just like to quickly highlight the amount of projects that we have, which are 215. Most of you will know the graduated ones, but that is a lot of what we cover in the community groups and KCDs, is the Cloud Native topics. Some stats on our chapters around the world, the amount of KCDs that we are holding this year, and in which region. I've highlighted Europe since we're in the European region. So just a fun stat slide here. And then finally, we're not taking questions at the end, but we are having a quiz, and we'll have these QR codes on future slides in case you don't click through quick enough. But if you yourself are an organizer or an organizer and an attendee, please do take both quizzes, or you could just take the organizer one. But if you're just an attendee of meetups, we would love to see your responses and the pink QR code there.
Yeah, we have only 175 questions there, so no worries, you can do it in 5 minutes.
Should be fairly simple. What is it, 10 questions each? Yeah. All right, let's get started. So most of you know the rewards and the benefits of attending meetups and KCDs. You're going there to learn, share, have mind share, elevate your career. And as organizers, you're also elevating your career, and you get fulfilled by bringing these open source topics to your local community and building that network with one another. But with rewards also come challenges, right? And so this is where our organizers with a lot of experience come in, and I'm going to ask them each questions on specific challenges they face in their regions. So I'd like to start with Satyam from the New Delhi chapter.
Yeah, so the challenge that we face majorly in our city, in our region, is that we have a very large number of audience, and to accommodate all those audience is a big thing that a big challenge that we face every time. And talking about this bigger audience, so sometimes, or most of the times, it happens that we get audience around 200 folks at a meetup, and with this number of people, the time management gets difficult a lot, because so we have to do the check-ins, we have to do the attendance thing, and we have to accommodate them comfortably. So the event starts late, it gets delayed, and affecting all the volunteers, organizers, and audience, and sometimes even venue partners as well. And the third thing that we often face challenges with the AV setup, like multiple speakers do have multiple devices, and no matter whatever we have done good for the AV setup, there is always something that goes wrong. And the fourth thing is with the logistics and the food, and majorly the food thing. So many a times, like when more than expected attendees showed up, we have booked prior food. So in India, what happens is that we have to order food a day prior or 2 day prior, because it takes a lot of time to prepare the food, like the Indian food, basically, that the people like there the most. And and when the attendees show up more than expected, then we have to sort of order the food again. Yep. But yeah, there are some sort of challenges with the meetups, but they are also reversed. Like when people come to up and say, is that, hey, I got a job, and I got a job through attending your meetups. So these are the things that keep us motivating, that keep us continue to do the community work that we are doing there in India. I'd like to.
It sounds like you have a lot of event planning skills now after handling all those logistics and the
Yeah.
domino effect of the happy problem of a lot of attendees. So hopefully it's still rewarding after dealing with all those things.
I agree to that. It's always rewarding to meet and network with a lot of people, and meet new people every month, and help them learn about the cloud native stuff, and learn from their different perspectives. Yeah, it's always rewarding to have that. Yeah.
But
Thank
looking
you.
on your hand, I think that's no all people are happy, right? With your meetups.
No, it's not. I just fell down. So there was no one at our meetups. Like we try, all of the folks should go happy with a smiling face back home.
All right. Thank you, Satyam. Carolina, in Sao Paulo, what challenges do you face that might differ from New Delhi?
Yeah, I think in our local chapters we have a size between 30 and 100 people, and sometimes it's tricky to have the regularity of the meetups, because you have to build organizers teams that help you each other to maintain this. Always is a question that how can open a new chapter? So I always say that you have to find people that you can trust and try to support each other, because you have to keep these meetups between years, months, and trying to do it. Everyone is working, everyone has his own work. So sometimes it's hard to have the time to do the meetup. And another point that I think is also build more awareness inside of the companies. That the companies know that how is important the open source inside, because give more opportunities, for example, even inside of the companies to have more open source jobs. Sometimes it's not awareness how is using the projects like OpenTelemetry or Kubernetes inside of the company. And this is like a little tricky. I think this is like a next step of maturity inside of the community. If I think about in Latin America, we are building a lot. Like we have a lot of communities that is creating new chapters, but also the awareness of inside of the companies. Sometimes they don't know what is CNCF, or they are using an OpenTelemetry. So they don't have this knowledge. Then even have more opportunity inside the companies to give more dedicated jobs to have more maintainers. More maintainers inside of the open source projects. That this will help us to try to build some KubeCon Latin America or KubeCon in Africa, that is the missing, KubeCons on the other part of the world.
Yeah, thank you, Carolina. She touched on the consistency of holding meetups. So CNCF requires you host a meetup at least 4 times a year, so once every 90 days, to maintain your activity level. So it's not a very high standard. You could do it virtually or in person, but consistency is key for your community to count on you and to expect what's next. And then, yeah, to eventually build those numbers, find the end users, and then hopefully bring a KubeCon there in the future. Pawel, what challenges do you face in Krakow, Poland?
Right. So first of all, 200 people, like Satyam said, it's like, come on, for my country, for my city, it's like more the conference than meetup, right? So I'm really jealous. Anyway, before I tell you what we struggle with, I have a question to you. How many of you are engineers? How many of you are working with scaling? How many of you have problems with scaling? So surprise, the same will happen with community, and it will be a problem with the horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. What I mean by that, you have to remember that probably in your city there are more meetups than only yours. So you have to remember that probability that they will do the meetup in the same day and the same hour like you is like 95%. Because the morph is low, right? So it's good to have the communication with other groups, even if it's not like a CNCF chapter or whatever, other meetups, right? Technical ones, to find out common schedule, to not, steal attendees from each others. So I think this is very important. We hit this a couple of times in Krakow, and yeah, it happens. It happens, and we don't have like 50 people, but we have 17. Right? So this is the problem of scale we have.
But you consistently have 17, right? Like, do you have the same faces show up?
So generally we can say that for us, it's the number of people who are registered is like 60% at least more than the people who show up. So 30%, if you have 30% of the registrants, it's a quite good number.
Yeah.
So for us, it's around, well, I would like to have 50, but yeah, maybe one day.
You'll get there. But the communication is key. Yeah, you just really don't want to compete with your fellow technologists, and really just get on the same page with, okay, you host this week, we'll host 2 weeks from then. And then that way you can collaborate and share. Since Anita's not here, I did say I'll touch on things that are struggles in some of our African chapters, and that's mainly hosting in-person meetups. So a lot of our chapters that we have in Africa do virtual communication, do virtual meetups, and yeah, it's because of the maturity that that Carolina brought up. It's just bringing awareness to open source in the first place. So yeah, and then in North America, the challenges vary just depending on what city you're in, from finding speakers to a venue and the cost of it, depending on if it's a large city or not. But the attendees seem to be there in North America as well. So moving on to CNCF's values and how we instill these in our communities and how we make sure that they're exemplary, and we talk a lot about accessibility and being inclusive, and the content that we host is vendor neutral. So I'd really like to ask Pawel first. We'll just go backwards. How do you deal with this, or how do you be exemplary in this way in your chapter?
Yeah, so for us, it's important to bring unexperienced speakers to the stage. So not only unexperienced by the way that they are not familiar with the stage, but also unexperienced in the, experience. So juniors and people who are starting their career. Because, I'm in this field for 27 years, right? So the probability that I forgot many basics is quite high. I know myself is very high. And the problem is that we forgot very often about basics, which we should have. This is the foundation for everything what we do. And the young people who are starting their career like 20 years after me, they have different perspective. They can still teach me something. And if they can teach me, they can teach your audience as well. So bringing young people to the stage, unexperienced people to the stage, first, you give them some kind of reward of being there. It is very important for them. And also you allow others to hear the stories which might seem simple. But believe me, from every single talk you can find, in every single talk you can find something for you. So don't be afraid to, bring unexperienced people to the stage.
Yeah, we really count on these chapters to elevate voices and then kind of be mentors in a sense too. And then maybe they can go to a KCD next, and maybe they'll have a KubeCon in their future in terms of speaking. So thank you for touching on that. What about you, Carolina? What in the Sao Paulo chapter are you trying to focus on when it comes to these values?
Yeah, I think in general in Latin America we have it's tricky to find women in the stage. Like in the meetups, is sometimes only me and the people that is hosting the avenue, like woman that is working in the avenue. It's really that we need to push more mentoring programs to elevate new voices in all, not only Sao Paulo. It's a problem of the region. I think it's in general we don't have so many minority groups, underrepresented groups, and also talking about the underrepresented groups is like accessibility is also another important point. That this is like something that I will put as a checklist to do in the Cloud Native chapters, that try to use the captions, because already we have in the deaf and hard of hearing the group of the CNCF that they are building resources, and so we can use these resources to put it in our chapters to be more inclusive with this, with other underrepresented groups, that is not only about women. No?
Yeah, it's a good point. And we actually have a resource later on in our slides that point you to this open source captioning option that you can try out for free at your meetups. Satyam, what about on the content side of things? What are you experiencing in New Delhi, and what are your efforts towards that?
So what we focus in terms of like cloud native values is the vendor neutrality more often. So we focus on the content informational content more rather than promotional content, and as we have theme-based meetups, so every meetup of ours is like from beginners to advanced. So suppose we are hosting a meetup on so we try to host a meetup on a certain technology, like it could be Kubernetes, it could be something on monitoring, it could be, so it goes from basics to advanced. And as Pawel mentioned already, that we should have some unexperienced speakers in the queue at the stage as well. So I believe so through that way we try to provide the opportunity to unexperienced speakers as well, and we have a line of from unexperienced speakers to experienced speakers, starting from the very basics to the advanced. So we majorly try to focus on the content more rather than the promotional things, and we value the vendor neutrality aspect of cloud native values more often, every time.
Thank you.
And this brings the story to my mind, because this is the principle of CNCF, this vendor neutrality. This is the first thing. The story from different place, from DevOps days, really. You have to remember that even if you check the speaker, check the title, sounds good, check the description of the talk, sounds very good, then someone is going to the stage, and for the 1 hour he is doing or she is doing something like that, we are the best. By us for the 1 hour, right? It happens. How to deal with that? Well, you can't do much at that time, because you will not kick off the guy from the stage, right? Well, maybe you should. Maybe this will be the fun.
This can be.
Let me know how that goes.
But yes, it can happen. It can happen. You have to remember about that.
Yeah. And also to Anita's point, since she can't be here, accessibility in terms of for folks who can't make it to your meetup. So if you have the resources to film or record the sessions and then put it out on YouTube afterwards, that's awesome.
In our community, like we have implemented that we record all the sessions so that people who is not able to attend the meetups, the talks are always on the YouTube. People can go and check it out. Although it takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it at the end. When the speakers get the opportunity and they come to us say, I got more and more opportunities by the videos that I showed to the other conferences, other conference organizers. They are giving me more and more opportunities, and they also like get time to improve. When the video is recorded, they get time to go back and see like what was the mistakes they were making, especially for the unexperienced speakers. They can go and they can check it out and they can improve for later on. So it's always good to have recordings, but it takes a lot of efforts.
Yeah, and on the contrast, I think if for smaller groups you might feel differently.
Yeah, we have different experience here, because in our case, very often when the potential attendees sees that there will be recording later, they will not come. Because why? They can just watch it later. What never happened, really, because if you record something, you will never, view this, right? So at least for me, that works. So maybe we should have some paywall, maybe for YouTube. Well, no, okay, I'm kidding. So we do not record, but it depends really on the personal decision in the community, because some communities records, some not.
Yeah, and that's entirely up to you as organizers.
We are different, and that's why we are here.
Exactly, representing different regions for a reason, yes. All right, let's talk about growth and how we do it sustainably, because prior to me joining CNCF in 2022, starting chapters was a lot easier. We didn't really do as much due diligence in terms of checking the backgrounds of the organizers and how they're going to be able to contribute. We didn't have this 90-day standard and activity level. Sometimes we'd have chapters that hadn't hosted something in 2 years. And so people thought, oh, well, there's a chapter there, but then they're just waiting, and can't pass the torch as an organizer if somebody else wants to come in and take over that chapter. So we've come a long way, but there's still plenty to work on. And I'd like to get their feedback on what could be better. And I think we'll start with Carolina on this one in terms of chapters, because we do see mostly city chapters, but sometimes we see state chapters, sometimes we see country chapters. What does that mean and what should that look like? So I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, governance is a little tricky, because if you think about maybe when the CNCF started, it's like 10 meetups or 10 chapters. Right now is like more than 1,000, and everyone wants to build his own chapter. So try to build together good practice, how we good organizers, try to maybe improve with surveys about if the audience are happy with that, what can we do better. It's something that we could collaborate between all the organizers across the world. We are sharing the repository that is there, that we can open discussions and try to improve this best practice and discuss more how can be avoided and how is a good thing to do. And this is because also in a local chapter it's already tricky sometimes to do a communications. Imagine when it's a chapter that represents a region like a country, and how can improve the communications and maybe not forget other regions that is Latam. This is like the discussions that I would like to see more between everyone in the GitHub and the issues to try to improve this governance across the chapters.
Thank you, Carolina. And Satyam, what about on the organizer side? Your team has a good process when it comes to becoming an organizer.
Yeah, so on the governance side, like we believe more in meritocracy. So it's all about like we believe we are more open and we are more collaborative. So what we have, what our belief, the belief of our organizers is that leadership should be earned. It should not be passed on. So we have this very good standard of being an organizer in our community. So whenever someone from audience comes to us and asks, hey, I want to be the organizer, I want to contribute to this community. So we say that, okay, you can start with the volunteering. You can pick any of the role. It could be anything, like it could be graphic designing, it could be like content writing, it could be anything, or it could be social media. And we also, throughout that 5 to 6 months, we try them to teach more about cloud native thing as well, teach about the ecosystem as well. So because there is always possibility that speakers don't show up at the last moment, and we believe that our organizers should have that amount of knowledge that when the speakers don't show up, one of our organizers should go and speak on the behalf of that speaker, because when the audience is stepping out of home for the conference, they are expecting something from us. They are expecting us to stay to our promises. So this is what we value when in terms of governance. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. Like how we have set the rules to be an organizer in our community. It's about meritocracy and how fast you are learning and how fast you are taking on the things. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Pawel, what about you in the Krakow chapter? I mean, not specifically, but in Europe, I guess. Are there any values in the governance side of things that we should be thinking
but
about?
before I would go to that, to what you said, this is a very good point, that you are ready to be, let's call it, backup speaker.
Plan B, yeah.
It will not work only in one case. Actually, it happened to me. I was the speaker on the meetup I organized, and I was sick. So, yeah, it happened. But what I think is really that we do the community stuff, we organize those things, we are involved in this, not to make money from it. Let's make this clear. We do it for the community, we do it for fun, we do it for satisfaction. Yes, of course, there are benefits from it. And I am the best example. When I lost my job last year, in 1 hour later, I had another one.
You had a good network.
Yeah, because of the network, because of the, the transparency I hope I used to use in my work and life, and the connections I had, right? So this is the benefit which you have, and believe me, people will not believe in your community, in you, if they will see that you do it for money. Maybe some say, well, it is naive approach, but then those people you can show one of the fingers, you know which. So you do it for the community, you do it for fun, you do it for sharing the knowledge, building the, let's say, the understanding of best practices, building the network, and that's the goal, right? So yeah, that's my opinion about this, really.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, please contribute. I am the main contributor to this repository as a CNCF core employee, so it would be great to have some help. Yes, we have a question or statement. Yeah, come up since we stole the microphone from the middle of the room.
Hello. My name is Inda Bongo Awa. Yesterday I met the amazing Caroline. That's how I knew about this event.
Nice.
And they actually falls into place. Thank you for all your contributions. And the first slide was kind of disappointing to me because I saw Africa 1, and luckily we have like 12 chapters. I'm also community-led, and what the last statement Pawel said really was the icing on the cake, that we don't do it for the money. But again, what's money? You do it for all what you said, which is more valuable than money. Losing your job and getting another one in 1 hour, people with money can't really understand that. And I was just wondering, and I relate to all the challenges that you all have mentioned there. I tried the visual part. Am I really audible enough?
Yes.
All right.
I think so.
I tried the visual part to link with my fellow community back in Africa, Cameroon. I'm from Cameroon originally. And there are a lot of reasons. They fall out of network. They have to go to work. They have other challenges, which I totally understand. We are really we are privileged out here. So again, is there like a comparative advantage or like a customized way of encouraging the continent of Africa to facilitate their community building, so it should be sustainable? Because having the same standards as other continents, it's not really like efficient or equal. So is that something that is behind the scenes, or is it something that we should address? Because I'm really, really so interested in seeing that my fellow brothers and sisters out there understand. First of all, to understand. Someone of you mentioned that, no, it's Caroline. She said some don't even know what CNCF is. I have a background in economics. I came into IT 2 years ago, and I'm really so passionate about everything, AWS, Google, all what the cloud ecosystem has to offer. So is there is there something tailor-made for?
So thank you for that, and I love to hear your experience. What actually the governance is for growth that aren't standards that are set yet. So it's great to have feedback. If somebody creates a pull request on the organizer-specific qualities that we were talking about, then please chime in and comment, because we won't merge it if it's not relevant to every community. So this point is futuristic and ideas at this point. It's not happening yet. So yeah, everybody's opinions are valued, and we will require that every region chimes in before we pass something. Yeah.
And you can try to approach any of us, I believe, and we can share whatever we think can help you, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we have a pretty large audience, so if you need help with hosting our events virtually, we are happy to collaborate with you. We are always there. Just ping us anytime, and we'll be there all the time. Okay.
Same.
Yeah, I think this panel is for that, for create more awareness and to create more discussions, because so many topics is that we don't know how to manage big regions, how to grow up, how to be equal to everyone. Yeah, the people that is here is, I think, interesting to grow and grow with this. So, like in the GitHub is the CNCF group is Cloud Native, ne? What is the name completely?
So it's community groups, Cloud Native community groups.
Yeah,
so there's the GitHub repository in the middle there, and other resources too. So if you're interested in starting a chapter, or even simply just seeing what chapters exist, that first link has a map where you could type in your city or state or country and see what pops up. And then, of course, the live captioning and other resources we mentioned throughout the panel.
And I think at the end also everything is about people. So you already is meeting people, even Anita that is not here but is mentioned, and we are missing so much that and I think that is showing the problems that we have in other regions, that we do have problems to get a visa, that the importance that maybe we have an events in Latin America, in Africa, and reach more people. But yeah, you can count with us and other people that is Cloud Native chapters of Africa, that you also can meet them and try to reach and create and expand your region.
Yeah. So we are running low on time. I just want to quickly go to the Mentimeter results here so we can see what we found.
Let's see first how many answers we have in both of them. Here is 0, or I just need to restart it. Let me check. 2. And for this one, we have 5. So let's go with the more popular one. Okay, so no responses here. Oh, yes, right. So first question was, did you ever participate at Cloud Native meetup? So unfortunately, 3 of you, so more than half, didn't. Why? Explain yourself.
No.
I think this should be yes. Like everyone here is at KubeCon, and it is a cloud native meetup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're bringing awareness
Or
to
maybe
it
those
now.
people doesn't know that it is the CNCF.
Maybe, yeah, could
maybe.
quite
Right,
possibly be
but
true.
let's go to the next one. What cloud native topics are you interested in? I have to make it a little bit bigger. Mostly auditability and security, observability, I think, and security. Not interested in all the LLM stuff. Who said that? Because I love you.
This is anonymous for a reason.
Kubernetes, eBPF, tooling to relieve from the burden of infrastructure, increase productivity, and finally observability, cloud cost, networking, templating, and packaging. And this is interesting because this is what I'm observing very often. There is not that many people who are interested in, let's call it soft topic, like ours today, right? Then if you see it on the conference, it's wow, it was interesting, really. So that is something what we can change, I think, a little bit in how we do the meetups. All right, favorite food, tacos, good, snacks. No one wants to eat bare metal. Sad. All right. How do you prefer?
I am not surprised. I am not seeing the pizza there.
Yeah, we're not seeing pizza.
Come
No
to
one likes
Poland, we
pizza at
have
the meetup.
pizza everywhere.
Yeah.
For meetups. How do you prefer to attend meetups? And in person, there is a majority of you, so 2, and hybrid is 1. So I think it's changed a lot during the pandemic time. And, you know, I personally do not like to attend online meetups because I never listen, because I have 2 screens.
Multitasking.
Right? On one screen I have a meetup, on second screen I have something what become more interesting for some reason. So I prefer in person. All right, in one word, why do you attend meetups? Networking, we have 2, clarity, community, knowledge, learning, and straightforwardness. And I like those answers, really. What format do you prefer? Classic talks, hands-on, kinda workshops, and lightnings. So we have for hackathon we have 1, and study squad we have also some. So quite. No, okay. Hackathon is like there is no answers almost, but generally you like all types of activities. Good. It gives us more options, really.
Yeah, there's a
as
lot of
organizers.
folks that are experimenting with lightning talks instead of just typical speaker to audience, or study groups. We see a lot of study groups for the certifications that we offer.
For example, we run in Krakow the kinda workshop for public speaking. So I was teaching others how to be on stage and how to, present things and so on. All right. So what are examples of accessibility? And this is the topic you, Caroline, mentioned already. So we have a couple of answers. Physical accessibility is important in quiet spaces for meetups. That's interesting. I didn't expect that really. In that numbers, because this is the highest number, right, with physical accessibility. Something to think of for me. And do we have something? Oh, no, it's here. Okay, what is the typical audience? And we have 11 to 50. We have 2 answers. And Satyam, did you answer already this in this chat? Okay, because it's more than 100. So, yeah, the big meetups are really hard to maintain, I think. So I love to speak with you some later time about how you deal with that, really. As an attendee, do you pay attention to the diversity of speakers at Cloud Native meetups? And yes, some. We have good answers, really. Not many of them, but good. Right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm surprised.
so I'm happy to see that. Okay, networking during the meetup. What is most exciting? The different experience that come from it and how they shape my own knowledge. I think the biggest power of meetups is not the talks themselves, but the networking you can have, the meeting the people and doing those, like, things together, really, right? Getting out of the bubble and saying what others are doing. That's interesting because, especially like for me, and I think for many of you, we are living in the bubble. And when you go outside the bubble, you see that, this DevOps world is not that beautiful like you think, right? So yeah, that's important thing, and also the diversity of challenges each of the people faces, and the possibility to network and move in your career. And that's why I think that's good idea will be one day to do the meetup like really intercontinental meetup, because all of us, we have different ways of solving problems, and learning this is something mind-blowing, really.
Carol, did you have a
Pawel,
comment?
this meetup will be the KubeCon.
It's a little bit too big.
KubeCon in Latin America, KubeCon in Africa.
Okay.
You've gone in India.
Well,
Okay.
that's already.
You already have it.
All right. All right. So what topics are the most interesting for you? Observability is most popular, not AI. Something changed in the world. eBPF, ready-to-use tools, Rust, and security. Rust? Developers? Are here developers? All right. And where are you from? We have 3 answers, all 3 from Europe. Fortunately, unfortunately, I will not comment that, but yeah, we have 3. Both of those quizzes will be available. We will post them on Slack, I think, on the
Yeah, the
community
slides
channel.
are actually also on our session page as well, so
Yeah.
you can access
Yeah.
them there.
So those quizzes will be still available for you to go through, and you can see the results as well. And also we will post the results as well in this channel. So join the channel if you are not there. Join the Slack of the CNCF. So
Yeah.
you can do it for free. So it's good price, I think.
If you go back to the slides, we can also have you rate our session too, which would be awesome.
Yeah. Do we have something more? Yes, we have the example of the accessibility. I think this was already there, so this is somehow like a copied.
Yeah.
All right, so let me come back to this. Yeah.
All right, so if you have questions, please reach out to us at one of these email aliases. If you're interested in starting a chapter or merging into a KCD if you already have a chapter. And of course, please leave us feedback. This is directly for our session, the QR code. We appreciate you being here. I appreciate my fellow panelists. Satyam, thank you for this idea of the panel and gathering us together. I really do appreciate
Thank you so much,
opportunity.
Audra. And I would really like to thank the CNCF and its team, especially you. Like whenever we are having any sort of problem, we just run to you, and you are very patient with us and answering all our questions very patiently. Thank you so much for doing that. And all of the things that we are doing is not possible without you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I agree.
And I appreciate you all jumping in to help each other since it is just one of me. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us.